Dzień dobry, everyone.
Dzień dobry. We don't react to these kind of video often because for some reason when the content is a little bit negative, there's less views. So if you like this type of content, smash a like because personally I love this kind of content about cost of living. Shocking, the hidden truth.
Yo.
You guys told us that Poland is not that cheap anymore. So we're going to verify with this video. It's from a few days ago. So I guess it's going to be accurate. If it's not, let us know. Also, there's always a big discrepancy between the big city and the countryside with the cost of living. So it's always tricky, but grocery price is the same everywhere, right? It doesn't matter if you're in a big city or a small city. So I wanted to react this video and share a perspective from us that live in Thailand and try to compare a little bit. So it's by The Poland YouTube channel. Yes. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Poland. I'm your host, a foreigner who packed their bags a few years ago, excited by the promise of low costs, great culture, and a solid career. But let me be honest, lately I've been feeling a little financially confused. I came here expecting Western salary, Central European prices. Now I'm looking at my rent bill and my grocery receipts, and I have to ask, is Poland getting too expensive for expats in 2025?
Wow.
Forget the glossy travel blogs. We're diving into the raw numbers and the real experience today. We're comparing my Western earnings to my Polish expenses. And the gap, my friends, is shrinking faster than a pierogi at a family dinner. If you're living here, thinking about moving here, or just curious about the reality,
It depends on what country is coming from. If you're coming from London or Paris, it will look cheap.
Yeah.
If you're coming from like a small town in Germany, it might look expensive if you go to a big Polish city. I mean, I guess it depends where you're coming from, right?
stick with me. Hit that like button if you've ever gasped at a Polish bill, and let's figure out if the dream of a cheap Polish life is officially over. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Poland? Affordable, right? And for a long time, that was absolutely true, especially when compared to places like London, Paris, or New York. But here's the kicker. Poland is changing and fast. The economy is booming. Wages are rising. And with that growth comes an inevitable and sometimes painful increase in expenses. We're not talking about a small bump. We're talking about a significant shift that's redefining what affordable means here. So let's peel back the layers and start with the big one, the elephant in every room, the reason most of your friends back home still think you're living like a king. Rent. Rent, my friends, is where the shock truly begins. 5 years ago, finding a decent one-bedroom apartment in a good neighborhood in Warsaw for 2,000 Polish zloty was challenging but doable. Today, you'd be lucky to find a broom closet for that price. We're seeing averages for a central one-bedroom apartment in Warsaw hitting between 2,900 and 4,900 Polish zloty per month. That's nearly 1,000 to over 1,200 US.
You know what? On our other channel, we reacted to a very similar about Berlin, and they had expensive price too. But if you go to the big city, the big as seen as the business city of a country, right? Like Warsaw is, like Berlin is, you're gonna find these prices, but in every capital all around the world. In Bangkok, it's also cost this for rent. In the capital of Thailand. We pay for rent 8,000 baht per month, us. So we pay around 200 euros. We pay around 200, 220 euros. So it's a lot cheaper than this, but we live deep in the countryside on a house. If we go to Bangkok and we go to a one-bedroom apartment, 55 square meter, we're gonna pay this price.
Yeah.
So it's really depend where you are, and you make a choice to live in Warsaw, in a busy street or something. I mean, at one point,
Or roughly 700 to 1,100 euros. And it's not just the capital. Kraków, Wrocław, Gdańsk, they're all following suit, with similar apartments hovering around the 2,500 to 3,300 Polish zloty mark. Can you imagine dedicating that much of your monthly income just to keep a roof over your head?
Compare that. I want to know how much, if you go to a smaller Polish city that is not in a big city, and how much the house is going to cost compared to an apartment in the central of the big city. Because even here in where we are, in Udon Thani, we are in the countryside. But if we drive 15 kilometers north of here in the town, rent is going to be like 3 times more expensive than here, or 4 times more expensive.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on where you are.
True.
Substantial chunk, and for many, it's becoming a real struggle. This isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It's the difference between saving for a future and living paycheck to paycheck. Let me know in the comments below. What's the craziest rent price you have seen or paid in Poland recently? I'm genuinely curious to hear your stories. All right, so rent is a
Look,
beast, but what?
This is capitalist, right? People make a decision. If the rent are that price, it's because there's people that pay that price. If nobody is willing to pay that price, they're going to have no choice but to put the rent down. The rent is that price because there's people willing to pay that price. And also, I don't know if you have rent protection in Poland. It means that your tenant cannot increase the rent a certain percentage per year, or sometime for 10 years, your landlord cannot increase the rent price. We call that freeze rent.
Everything else? Let's talk about the essentials, starting with food. We all need to eat, right? And thankfully, groceries in Poland are still relatively cheaper than in many Western European countries. But again, the trend is upwards. A single person can expect to spend anywhere from 1,200 to 1,800 Polish zloty on groceries per month to eat reasonably well. That's around $300 to $450 or $280 to $420.
We spend
How
around
much
that.
is it? Yeah.
10,000 baht per person, 20,000. I would say we probably spend around that. We mostly eat grocery because eating out is more expensive unless we take like cheap Thai food.
Thai food is quite cheap, but you need to like control the cost because Thai food is cheap and there's many food, and then you ended up buying more than what you eat. So you have to, then you come back home with like spend more than like 200 baht.
Like Suji said, when you go eat out, you always end up taking more food than expected. So you end up spending more. When we order online, we order from the grocery and they deliver the next day, and we just take what we need for the week. So it's convenient. We don't need to pay for gas. We don't need to go out. They come the next day in the morning and then they deliver the food. And to me, it's the best way to order grocery.
€20. This includes your staples, fresh produce, and a few treats. If you love dining out, be prepared to add a significant amount to that figure. A meal in a mid-range restaurant can easily set you back 50 to 70 Polish zloty per person. And that quickly adds up if you're doing it a few times a week. It's all about budgeting and knowing where to shop. Farmers markets can still offer great deals, but even they've seen price hikes. Next up, utilities.
Yeah.
These are the bills that sneak up on you every month. Electricity, heating, water, internet, and maybe even gas. For a medium-sized apartment, you're looking at a range of 700 to 1,100 Polish zloty per month. That's a chunky sum, around $175 to $275 or 160 to 250 euros. Heating, especially during those long Polish winters.
That seems expensive for the build of the price here is electricity, right? How much we pay? We pay $40 for internet, maybe. Electricity, we pay like $110, $120. So I think it's end up being the same price as Poland.
Can be a major factor. So insulation and efficient usage are key. And don't forget your internet and phone bills, which, while competitive, still add to the total. It's not just about the raw cost of the service, it's about the energy efficiency of your building and your own consumption habits. These are the hidden costs that often catch people by surprise, particularly if they're coming from countries with different utility structures. Now, let's talk about getting around. Poland has an excellent public...
Wait, so in Poland, you cannot pay per month and you can consume all the electricity you want? Because you talk as if you pay for the internet, but you cannot go beyond a certain limit of consumption. So I'm wondering, it's supposed to be unlimited. When you pay to internet every month, it's supposed to be unlimited. You pay for a certain speed that you decide, and you pay that amount, and you can unlimited per month. That's the point of internet, right?
Transportation system, especially in its major cities. A monthly pass will typically cost you between 120 to 180 Polish zloty, which is about $30 to $45
That's
or
really
28
cheap.
euros to 42 euros. That's genuinely good value for money and a smart way to save on transport. If you own a car, however, prepare for the added costs of fuel, insurance, and parking, which can quickly inflate your budget.
Ah,
Fuel
parking.
prices,
Oh,
while fluctuating, are in line with European averages, and car maintenance and insurance are not insignificant. So, if you're planning your move, seriously consider relying on public transport first. It's a game changer for your budget.
yeah, exactly.
Beyond the absolute necessities, there's always the desire to live a little, right? Entertainment and miscellaneous expenses are where your lifestyle choices really impact your budget. Going to the cinema, meeting friends for coffee, a night out, or even just buying new clothes. These all add up. For a comfortable lifestyle that allows for some leisure activities, you should factor in anywhere from 350 to 700 Polish zloty per month, which is around $90 to $175 or 80 to 160
That's
euros.
reasonable.
This is an average, of course. If you're a big concert goer or love exploring new restaurants every weekend, you'll need to adjust that upwards. This category is entirely up to you, but it's crucial to acknowledge it when you're planning your finances. Don't forget those unexpected costs either. A quick trip to the pharmacy, a haircut, or a small household repair. It's always wise to have a small buffer. So let's put it all together, shall we? For a single person living in Poland in 2025, if you're trying to live outside the absolute city
Ah,
center,
but look, half of the price is the rent. You should not pay half of your price for the rent. That's why the problems start with the rent.
That's what's going on right now. Almost every country.
Yeah.
being careful with your spending, you're looking at a minimum of around 4,700 Polish zloty per month. That's roughly 2,500 Polish zloty.
It's more than 50% for the rent. Your rent should not be more than 25% of your income. That's where the problem is to begin with.
For rent, and another 2,200 Polish zloty for
That's the
everything else.
problem.
But if
I
you
mean,
want,
forget everything else that he talked about. It's all reasonable. The rent should be half of what it is to make it 25%. So this is the problem. It starts with the rent. It's basically, in, like you said, in a lot of countries, this is the problem.
to live in a central
Because
modern
people are not protected. Their landlord can do whatever they want. People are not protected.
apartment and enjoy a more comfortable lifestyle, that figure can easily soar to 8,000 Polish zloty per month, sometimes even more. That's 4,900 Polish zloty for rent and around 3,100 Polish zloty for other expenses. That's a significant amount, especially when you consider the average net salary in Poland is roughly 6,100 Polish zloty per month. This means that for many, living in a central apartment consumes a huge portion of their income, making saving incredibly difficult. The real shock, then, isn't just the numbers themselves, but the widening gap between the rising cost of living and the pace of salary growth for many people. While the economy is strong, not everyone's income is keeping up with the rapid inflation, which was around 5.3% in January 2025.
Yeah,
This
but this
means
is
that-
something that they talk about in every country. What he means is that, let's say that your salary go up 3% in 1 year, and people are like, "Oh yeah, nice. I had an increase of 3%," but your cost of living go up 5%. You're losing money. You're losing 2% that you're not seeing, and it's a trap. This is why this way of calculating is so bad, and that's why countries that say, "Oh, all we need to do is increase the minimum salary and we solve the problem." You don't solve the problem, because then to increase the minimum salary and then everything else is become more expensive. So it's
Your
kind of
purchasing
a-
power might not feel as robust as it did even a couple of years ago. It's a dynamic situation, and while Poland still offers a quality of life that's often better than what you'd get for the same money elsewhere, it requires careful financial planning and a clear understanding of these new realities. So, what's the takeaway here? Poland is no longer the cheap destination it once was, especially in its thriving major cities. It's a country on the rise with a vibrant culture and incredible opportunities, but that growth comes with a price tag. If you're moving here or already living here, it's crucial to research thoroughly, budget meticulously, and understand that your money might not stretch quite as far as you initially expected. But don't let that deter you. Poland is still an amazing place to live, work, and explore. It just demands a more realistic financial outlook. I hope this deep dive has given
Well,
you
listen,
the
to be honest,
podcast.
I don't really care about Foreigner. Like, I know he's talking about Foreigner going to Poland and be shocked that it's going to be more expensive. I don't care about Foreigner. I care about people in Poland being able to afford rent and grocery or not. When you think about it, like, yes, your country is getting better economically, you're getting more things, then the cost of living rise, but your quality of life doesn't necessarily rise up, even though your country is viewed more positively by the rest of the world.
It's stressful.
It's stressful? What? Why?
People born with death. Like you need to work, you need to pay everything in order to survive. It's so difficult. Lately, so difficult. But some people actually there's a lot of choice of a job too to make a lot of money, but you need to how do you say? You need to be strong and you need to be quick. Thing like that.
Well, that's why more and more people want to become influencer, YouTuber. Your half brother that is in the other room, he think that
He's 12.
he want to become a YouTuber, because when you're a YouTuber or an influencer, you kind of control in a way how much money you make, and you don't need to drive to go to your job, and you have more flexibility, and you're like in control of your own destiny in a way. If you work a salary, you need to beg your boss to get a 1% increase of salary.
Yeah, so you have to worry about like price of the transportation, and also you cannot stay near your house, right? Sometimes you need to rent in the capital, whatever thing that you have to pay. And then in Thailand, it's not like old people doesn't have pension. Like as a kid, you're gonna need to send them a little bit of money too. See.
But it's not just the transport. Then you stop at Starbucks and you get a coffee.
Yeah, also
on the way to your job.
The society, friend, a group of people you need to meet, things like that, and you end it up with nothing in the end of the day.
Yeah, when you stay home and you make your own coffee or your own lunch, your cost for the overall day will also be cheaper, and not just the gas, but everything else.
My brain said, it's not even good, so you need to spend. Understand?
Yeah. The temptation is more there to spend when you work somewhere, right? Every time that she go in town, she always spend a lot of food when we come back.
I cannot make cheesecake.
I know, she buy cheesecake.
I cannot make that green tea flavor.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that amazing suggestion. Please tell us more. I feel like your reality is the reality that we have in a lot of country, I would say. What I've noticed going up in Thailand, going up a lot is grocery. So, yeah. So anyway,
Yes.
thank you for watching. And Papa.